You have quite a few guests that come from like Connecticut and even just neighboring New York as well.
Our number one market is Connecticut. We're all in on Connecticut. We're part of the community. A lot of resorts have an iron fence around them, and they don't have anything to do with the community which they live in. We're all open doors.
I think what makes it so special is the history, and 100% is the team. We hear it constantly how genuine the team is.
What's really important for us is we have to take care of our customers, but in order for us to take care of our customers, we have to take care of our employees.
Thanks for joining us on this week's BizCast powered by Google. I'm Amanda Marlowe, and this week we are clearly not in the studio. We've taken the BizCast on the road. We're here in Old Saybrook at the Saybrook Point Resort and Marina. And we are here with Managing Partner Stephen Tagliatela and General Manager Chris Bird. Welcome.
Welcome.
We're happy to have you.
We got a beautiful fall day here. I'm really excited about this. Believe it or not, I am rather new to this area. So this is the first time I've stepped onto this resort, and I am blown away.
Yeah, definitely won't be your last.
Yeah, certainly. That's right. Let's start by talking about the history. So why don't you take us down that road, Stephen?
Sure. So I'm in a family business, and something my grandfather started as a house remodeler. And after World War II, my father took the reins of the business and turned it into a general contracting company and GC'd a lot of public jobs and commercial jobs over the course of history, generally in the greater New Haven area. And then at one point he ended up buying a piece of land and built an apartment building, and that was the beginning of something that was worked very well for the family. And we provide a variety of types of housing in the greater New Haven area for the community. And this became available on the market through a foreclosure auction, but none of this was here. It was a dilapidated old motel called the Terra Mar that had its glory years in the 50s and the 60s. In fact, back in 1969, Frank Sinatra was supposed to buy this because he was a frequent visitor with the Rat Pack and other friends of his as well. And thank God that didn't happen because I ended up meeting my wife here. So it's certainly changed my life.
Yeah, it changed your trajectory.
And we have two beautiful kids. Joey's in New York City trying to be an artist and making a living at being an artist. And my oldest daughter, she's a biotech person in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay. And I'm sure they love coming back home to this resort.
We love having them come back home, yes. It's a nice opportunity to do a lot of our own family events here as well. So we have a lot of memories over the years, and we create a lot of memories for the people that come here. So it's very exciting to me to create those memories for them.
So I think it's pretty obvious how you walked into this picture. But Chris, tell us kind of when you started here and how you've joined this story.
Yeah, I started 2.5 years ago and love New England and was ready to leave Florida and came up into the New England area. And fortunately, through the connections that I had, my resume got put on the top on Stephen's desk. And we just really hit it off and have very, very similar values in taking care of the team, taking care of our guests, making sure that this property is world-class every day and world-class service. And so it's been a really great connection, and I just love it.
Can you guys talk about some of the amenities here? You know, it's not just like one overnight stay.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's so fantastic. We have the Choo Choo Lounge as well as our wonderful restaurant, Fresh Salt. So different dining options, a full-service spa, as well as indoor and outdoor pools. Our indoor and outdoor pool and gymnasium works for a membership for the locals that also are here. And then as you see behind us, we have the gorgeous Marina.
And tell me a little bit about some of the people who come to visit.
Well, we get guests from all over the world. Definitely the Connecticut guest loves to come in and spend a couple of days. One of the things that's fantastic about us in this area is we are open year round. And so people are looking for a place that they can get away in the winter. And a lot of places, as you probably know, don't offer stays during the winter. And so we are open.
And I mean, obviously the weather is getting a little bit colder, but it's still a beautiful view, right? You can't take that sea.
You can't take that away. And as Stephen taught me very early, the ice on the Marina is actually beautiful and very much worth a trip just to really see it in the sparkling color that it has. So
yeah. A different experience, but one that's still great nonetheless. And Stephen, tell me, I know that your family has really made this commitment to being very environmentally friendly. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we were early on the docket for being green. A lot of it just makes good economic sense if you have the ability to invest money into systems, solar panels, or we have cogeneration, which generates 40% of our electric right in our basement. Those types of things, if you're willing to have a patience with a payback, because we're not a public company that needs quarterly profits, we want to be profitable in the long term. So we'll look 5 years out, 10 years out sometimes and say, is this going to be a benefit to the company? And so a lot of times it makes a lot of economic sense to be green. You just have to have a longer view and some capital to do it.
And when did you kind of start putting those ideas to paper?
Well, we don't like paying electric bills. We do pay our electric bill on time, but we don't like paying big electric bills. So we've invested a lot into reducing our electric need. And, we have most properties of this size might be 4 or 6% of revenue all going towards energy. And we're hovering a little over 2.25%, 2.5%. So we've really cut our utilities down. And we also, wastewater, we do it on site, which is unusual for a property this size, but we do have a wastewater treatment facility on site that we also manage and maintain and do a fabulous job with denitrification, eliminating nitrogen into the water column. And because we're so close to the water, we feel we have to be good stewards, and we want to be good stewards of this environment because it's so special. There's very, very few locations that at a mouth of a major waterway like the Connecticut River, there's not a city at the mouth of the river. Almost every other waterway has a city. And so we were very fortunate, and it's because there's a sandbar out here that's prevented them from coming in and colonizing back in the 17 and 1800s, because it just every time they tried coming up the Connecticut River, they'd run aground. So they kind of let's go to Bridgeport, let's go to New Haven, let's go to Providence, and alike. So we have this outstanding natural resource here that is so beautiful and has remained beautiful over the course of time.
And you take a lot of pride in keeping it clean and
yes,
something that everyone can enjoy.
We've been very fortunate because we've been, like I said, we've been early to arrive at this place, and we were the first river or the first marina to be considered clean, certified clean marina, the first hotel in the state of Connecticut to be considered green hotel, and the first Energy Star hotel in Connecticut as well.
Wow, it's fascinating. And Chris, can you tell me a little bit, he talked a little bit about the size of this resort. How does this compare to kind of what you've worked with, and what do you think makes it so special and unique?
I think what makes it so special is the history, and 100% is the team. We hear it constantly, how genuine the team is. And, it's one thing to have and talk about being a family property or family business, and it's another than that is your value, is run it like a business and have those family values. So from the entry point throughout the entire stay, the staff is just getting complimented over and over again on how genuine and how sincere they are and taking care of the guests. So that's a real special piece and a little bit of a lost art.
And you guys hire, you employ quite a few people, several dozen, on salary, but also some seasonal workers.
Right.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we'll have, we'll keep about 30 people on salary, which makes our jobs a lot easier when it's time to ramp up. We'll get to about 150 associates and then balloon up over 150 in season. A lot more food and beverage coming in and housekeeping to help us with that. So having that stability of the leaders keeps them here year after year because they don't wonder where they're going to get their hours. And then it just makes it that much easier when you have to bring in new staff to get them trained and bring everybody to that level and those high standards that we and our guests expect.
And certainly, you employ quite a lot of people who are local to this area as well.
Our biggest thing that we love to say is we hire for personality and we train to skill. And that really has done us very well. We are very good about finding people who are gracious, are upfront, are very guest forward. And once they are that person, they enjoy what they do. And so we give them the skills to exceed, and then we get out of the way and let them enjoy the job that they get to do and take care of the guests.
And this is such an important aspect, in Old Saybrook itself. Can you talk a little bit about kind of the commitment to the community and, that you give and then also give back?
Sure. Well, it goes a little bit more than this community. I'm on the board of trustees for the University of New Haven and have been on and off for about 20 years. And we just brought in a brand new president, which I'm very excited about. Jens Fredrickson. But I've been on multiple boards. I was on the opening board for the Katharine Hepburn Cultural Arts Center back when that opened up. I've past board, a member of the Chamber of Commerce. You've been on the board of Chamber of Commerce, yep. And others. And then I started a tourism coalition for the state of Connecticut 7 years ago that is still in existence. I stepped down as president, and we have a new president, which is great, and an executive director that's part-time. And so we really try to bring home the revenue, demonstrate that the revenue is so much greater when they just put a little bit of advertising into the program. So it's not just, in my mind, that you're marketing a guest room, you're marketing a future resident. Because so many people that come and visit us here, they move into our own neighborhoods. I have on both sides of my neighbors, there are people that have been good customers here, and they say, we're going to move here after we retire, or we're going to move here right away. Everybody's got a little different story, but I have to say we help build the population in the state of Connecticut.
So tell me a little bit more. So you started the Tourism Coalition several years ago now?
Yeah, 7 years ago. And we peaked with about just under 200 members just before COVID. After COVID, we haven't really been able to fully recover, so we're still building that. We have about a dozen people on the board. We have all the major attractions. So we have both casinos. We have the.
You have a lot of our vendors.
Oh my goodness, there's so many. They're all flooding my brain right now.
It's a makeup of people from
all tourism related.
But small different types of businesses.
Mm-hmm. We've had the Marine Trade Association become members. We've had the Connecticut Lodging Association is considering being a member again, and so we're working that out. And so we're constantly looking for memberships, and we want to continue to grow it. Not just regionally, not just in southeastern Connecticut, but statewide, which is unique because most of these are very regional. There's regional organizations.
Yeah, but the tourism kind of goes beyond just the shoreline, even though that's a big focus for you.
Absolutely, yeah.
But
we have Litchfield County and Hartford, and then the Quiet Corner, and then of course the Mystic and Coast and Country.
So you think by getting people here just for tourism, then they eventually, learn to love it like we do and want to stay?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
And in terms of the greater New Haven, Old Saybrook community, there's also some other programs that you guys do, different employment offerings. Is that right?
Yeah, so one of our partnerships locally is with Loomability, and it's a group where they are transitioning into full-time work, and so the team comes here 5 days a week and works with us. And actually, one of the people, Jessica, actually got to see her again today. She was part of that program, but now has a full-time or a part-time job here with us in laundry, and so transitioning into that. But again, it's just as Stephen used the word steward, we just feel so strongly that we have to be the flagship, the steward of this area. And so whenever it comes time for somebody who we can partner with, we can help, we're quick to do it.
Another program that we were involved with in the past is reentry. So after someone comes out of the prison system, there's programs that are available where they either try to train them to build a business or to find a career somewhere, and we've worked with that institution and others like it over the years as well.
And kind of sticking on the tourism front. So you mentioned, there's guests coming from all over the world. You have quite a few guests that come from like Connecticut and even just neighboring New York as well.
Our number one market is Connecticut. We're all in on Connecticut.
What do you think that tells you about this place?
We're part of the community. A lot of resorts have an iron fence around them, and they don't have anything to do with the community which they live in. We're all open doors. We have memberships for our fitness center. We have a spa that is way too large for the number of guest rooms we have here. So our spa is very much supporting the community's needs and efforts and so forth. So, and then the restaurant as well as the community comes in here. A lot of people walk here. Yeah. Which is great. I'm one of the lucky ones. I can walk to work, and there's a few others that can walk to their local watering hole, which we enjoy their company on a regular basis.
Yeah, it's much more than just a place for outside guests to come to. It's really for everyone here.
Indeed.
And the magic of the shoreline is just so fantastic. I mean, again, it's October 24th. This could go for an August day, right? It's so gorgeous. And so just to be able to be here and make people feel welcome to come and enjoy the atmosphere.
And you're a Florida transplant, right?
Yeah.
So
this is heaven for me.
Well, that's certainly good to hear. Are there any things that you've done? Obviously, I know that you've been a shelter for people during storms. Can you talk a little bit about why that's so important?
It's part of supporting the community. And so when the power goes out, and the power does go out here occasionally as well, we have a generator that runs not the entire property, but the entire main building here. So we can fully function and operate. And even our guest houses, we have emergency standby generation. So when there's a storm coming, some people are going to be checking out to beat the storm and get out. And there's others that want to check in because they don't want to be without power because of their age, or sometimes the kids do worse without power than the adults because they don't have their toys to play with, so to speak. But we are certainly here to support the community, and we're at a high elevation, so we feel that we're at a safe elevation. The building, even though it looks like it's made out of wood, it's steel and concrete with a wood skin, so it's a substantial building, and we tend to remain open for most events.
Now, post pandemic, obviously that was a difficult time for many businesses, I'm sure, including yours. But how do you think that you've been able to kind of take those lessons and adapt? Is there anything new that you've implemented here?
Absolutely. Well, first, during COVID, we kept all of our salaried employees. And we did that for a reason, because we wanted to make sure that we were ready when it was over, that we wouldn't have to rebuild the team from scratch. And so we kept all these, I say they're indispensable, because without having great help, you can't provide great service. You can't provide great service, your reputation obviously takes a notch down, and it can continue to steam, roll downhill. So we don't want to go that way. We made a commitment to our employees, and many of them stayed on, and we created work for them even when there really wasn't work, but we kept them busy, and it made us better coming out of COVID. And some of the lessons we learned is that before COVID, we would have we were just talking about this today, we'd have a separate lunch menu from a dinner menu, and we'd have to stop service while we changed the menus over and changed the kitchen over to prepare for dinner. That went away. Now it's all day dining every day, and we have lunch items for people that want to eat lunch at dinner, and we have dinner items that people want to eat dinner for lunch. And so it gives more flexibility to the guest. It's uninterrupted service for the guests and for us. So it's worked out very well. We also decided that we don't have to be open 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So we've been able to segment some of our hours into our guest houses and slow things down here a little bit. So it's worked out really well. It's helps us be more competitive in the market and a little more profitable, which always helps when we have renovations. You need profit to do renovations, and so it's helped us a lot. And so we learned that we don't have to be open every day of the year.
And that's probably a hard, it took some time to learn that,
Yeah,
right?
but we never thought that, when you open your doors, we threw the keys away because they were always open.
Yeah, right.
The front door key.
We can't close now.
When they said we had to close, it's like, where's the front door key? We haven't used that in 20 years.
But certainly kind of pushed past and moved forward and brought on some good leadership, I see.
Indeed.
So obviously there's been a lot of renovations here in recent years. What's coming up next? Anything big?
Yeah, I think it's wonderful that not only do we consistently improve on the building, but improve on the service. And so in 2025, we will be launching butler service for our guest houses. So 14 rooms that are part of the property, but not right here on the inn. And we will have personalized butler service for those guests. And we're seeing more and more of the luxury guests wanting more luxury experiences, more curated experiences. And so we're really excited to launch that next year.
Chris is uniquely positioned to do this. I think it's a pretty big deal because he worked in the #1 spa in the United States, if not the world. And Mayamo was his specialty, and his specialty which is exactly this butler type service we're talking about.
Okay, very cool. We do like to kind of transition toward the end of the podcast to talk a little bit about leadership lessons. A lot of business leaders listening. Obviously, your team and kind of building here. You've learned a number of things along the way. If you kind of each want to just talk about some of the lessons that you've learned, kind of the bigger things that come to mind in your everyday as a leader.
I think the biggest piece for me is you have talent around you, and so let them do their thing, right? So don't take the fun out of it. Let them have the fun. And that's really what I look at, hire great people, give them the tools that they need and get out of the way and let them do it. Without micromanaging, if we need to micromanage the leaders here, we have the wrong leaders and we don't. We have the right leaders. So I need to leave them alone, right? But the other thing that's really important and in hospitality is not always there is you don't always have the resources. And so that's something that this family has constantly made sure we have the resources. It doesn't matter how good or bad a month is. If we need it, we're paying for it and we're getting it. We're not going to reduce our standard because of a financial obligation. And so that's been fantastic. So when you have a team that knows that they can consistently do everything to make it world class, they make it world class.
What about for you, Stephen?
So I think it's a circle in that we're part of the circle as being ownership, but what's really important for us is we have to take care of our customers, but in order for us to take care of our customers, we have to take care of our employees. And so if you don't do that, the customers will always suffer. So between that and also taking care of your vendors, I'll put the vendors right up there is with our employees, because if you don't have good relationships with your vendors, they're not coming out at 5 o'clock to deliver you 50 pounds of fish because you didn't expect to be selling so many halibut dinners this night or that night. So it's very important that we have great relationships with our vendors as well. In the town, because we can't do these things without the town. I can't tell you how many zoning commission meetings I've been to, but it's way more than 50. Because every time we want to change something here, we have to go back to them. And so we have to have a good relationship with them as well, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to change as the market changes. This building over here that's behind you, this was built during COVID. I don't think I would have gotten it approved, but because COVID was here, I was fortunate enough to present the plan, and they were happy to supply us with an approval for that. Same thing for the Choo Choo Lounge. So those things have recently been, big changes for our small property here, mm-hmm. and the customers have really, really embraced it.
Great. Well, thank you guys so much, and thanks for letting us come here for this BizCast episode. And thank you for listening to this week's BizCast. You can listen, like, and subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Please leave us a review and let us know if you have ideas for a future episode. And for a full list of episodes, head on over to CBIA.com.